This is our testimonial call after you've completed the 12-week coaching program.
Yes.
So first off, how would you describe your level of swimming when you contacted me?
So I'm somebody who's never swum in their life. And I had decided that, yes, this is something, or there's a life skill that I wanted to have. And I had actually decided this a couple of years ago, but unfortunately the pandemic came in between. So it was only when things had started up again, I joined a ladies only swimming class lesson, which worked with me surprisingly. And I went there and very nice teacher. And it was like, here are the floats, off you go, just start kicking and start moving. And it was a matter of just keep on doing it and it will come. And what I figured out is that I'm not that kind of person. I need to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And there needs to be a breakdown, there needs to be a structure to my swimming. And I think maybe that works well for children because children maybe are more linked into the intuitive side as they're in that learning phase. But as adults, I think it is harder. And I'm not one of those people who was being able to figure out where I was. And the state that I was in when I joined the program was that I was in the water. I was able to kind of have some arm movements and leg movements, but I was scared. I was scared of the water. When I was going in there, I was anxious. When I was doing my swimming, I was scared, number one, of stopping during my swim because I was like, oh my God, if I stop, what's going to happen? And I was scared of even wanting to think about going into the deep end of the pool because my only thought was, I need to be able to put my feet on the ground. And I just knew that I wasn't going to go far in my swim. And that's when I was kind of looking up YouTube videos, trying to figure out what was wrong. What was I doing wrong that I could not get my head around this? And through going down that rabbit hole of those YouTube videos.
What was it about my YouTube video that led you to me?
I think it was just the fact that it made somewhat sense that I knew what I was doing wrong, and you were if you're doing this, then oh, I'm doing that, and you're doing this, then there was there was help. Somebody could help me, and I think what I found quite intriguing was the fact that this is somebody who's not actually going to be in the water with me, but would be able to do this without us actually having to be swimming in the water, which I found that quite interesting as well.
Did that not fill you with doubt? Did you have any reservations when we spoke?
I think as you tend to grow up more, you can, it's the teaching aspect of it changes, doesn't it? You don't necessarily need somebody, okay, this is how you're going to be doing it. If somebody can explain it to you well enough, there's a high possibility that you'll be able to actually go and just do it. And again, it wasn't you explaining it as much as kind of dissecting what my actual problems were, problems that even I didn't realize that I had. So problems that I had that needed to be addressed before I actually went ahead and felt comfortable with my swimming.
Yes, because actually you were quite reluctant to admit that fear when we first.
No, I was like, but I've never let it bother me before, so it's not my problem. That is not the problem, because again, refusing to allow it to bother me, or refusing to accept that that was actually something that was holding me back. That was something quite big for me because again, it was something that I didn't even realize that was holding me back. But reservations, I think I had no exposure to the Alexandra technique. And if there was anything, it would have just been about how is this going to apply to swimming. But then again, when we had our first call, you answered most of the questions, and I mean, you got me on board. So yeah, I didn't have many reservations coming in, no.
So you signed up for the full 12-week package. How did you find it? I mean, what surprised you? What
What
results did you
surprised
have?
me, so the first thing, which should have been something really basic, I realized that I didn't know how to float. I thought that from the water, I'm floating, I'm swimming. If I'm able to go from A to B, then the floating is there. I didn't realize that element of trying to understand that why balance was so important. That to be able to float takes out half the fare, because it's like when you're swimming, you're going along, you're like, oh, I can't stop because I have to stand up. But you don't have to stop and fear about that you have to stand up, because you can just float. And to be able to develop that degree of comfort, a more of a symbiotic relationship with the water, that 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 was key. That was key, to not be in the water and to not to fear it. To be able to say that I'm going to put my head underneath the water and I'm going to mushroom and just hold myself as a mushroom there, because I now can do it because I want to, and I'm not scared of the fact that I'm letting the water carry me. I think that was a very key moment for me, because literally you're swimming along and go, oh my God, I can't stop, I can't stop, I can't stop. Of course I can stop. I can stop whilst I'm swimming without putting my feet on the ground, because I will float. So that was kind of the one first most important thing, realizing that I mean, I can be swimming, but if I'm not floating properly, I can't understand my relationship of float and balance in the water, it's not going to do me much benefit in my swimming. So that was really, really important. Again, this is for somebody who did not know how to swim at all right from the beginning. I had no understanding of swimming at all. I used to see my kids swimming. I used to wonder, why can't we just go ahead and get, because now I realize that every people thinks person is working differently in the water. And so that was one key thing that I felt that really strengthened my ability to be able to swim. And then kind of going forward to, I mean, we spent a lot of time on floating and gliding. But again, it was it was important because I think that helped with the understanding of balance in the water, and to be able to feel the water, how tense you can get in the water without even realizing. I'm on my back was hurting. Oh, why is my back hurting? Oh, I'm stressing my back out. Why am I stressing my back? Because I'm trying to stretch my head up. Why am I trying to stretch my head up? And then I think the best thing about your technique in teaching is is to understand that there are various different parts, and they're little parts, but they make the whole. And it's really important to being aware of these little parts, and like we kind of developed this, that it's like driving a car, and then all the little parts will eventually come together. And the more you swim, the more it will happen, and eventually the swim will come.
You talked about being aware. How did we develop your awareness of your movement of the water?
So it was kind of, the awareness was being in present in the moment, present and feeling how the water responded to your movements, or how my change in muscle tone affected my movements in the water. To be present and aware, and to see how each change I made affected my movement inside the water. And that was all part of the, and to understand how I was impacting my movement with my interaction with water. So kind of putting both of them together, the awareness aspect was really, really important, because that helped to make those decisions. So which, when that pause came, so I'm doing this, and now we're going to do that, and how we could find that moment to be able to make that decision before we actually went ahead and made that movement. So there was time, so there was no, so the whole point being to take the urgency out of the swimming and to find the moments where you can go, okay, I'm going to do it this way. Because as we did it, each swim was an experiment to find out what was working and what wasn't, and then to find what worked for me to incorporate that into my swim. So swim my own way.
So at the end of the 12 weeks, what was the end result? You went from not being able to swim, no understanding of swimming. What was the end result?
To now I'm very, very happy, and I feel like I'm swimming the way I wanted to swim. I don't feel that I have to be close to any side whatsoever, that I need to be near a wall, or I need to next to a rope. I can do my swim. And yes, there's still elements of it that are coming together, but that I know will come with time and practice. And the more I do it, the more it will gel together. And then, yeah, I know I'll be there.
Cool. So next question, was it fun? Was it interesting?
It was very interesting. It was very interesting because it was a different way of learning. And like we said, that it wasn't a matter of, oh, I have to do it. I'm going to work through this. I have to work through this no matter what. It's hard and it's difficult, but I'm going to work it. It wasn't that. It was, okay, if it's not working, then obviously there's something that needs to be changed. That's something that needs to be tweaked. There is some element of it that's not right for me, or I'm not, which brought us back to the, okay, we need to start experimenting on why that was difficult. Also, it was the ability to be able to break it down into lots of little bits rather than it being one whole thing that we were trying to overcome, and to be able to find a question that we could try and find an answer for, rather than say, okay, no, I need to just keep on trying. I'm moving my arm and keep on drawing. I can't turn around, but no, I'm just going to keep on drawing. Rather than it being a mindless learning, it was a very in the moment. What do I feel is going wrong? What did we have discussed before that? Okay, if this isn't working, we'll try it this way, or this is what we're going to do with the kicking. This is how we're going to be moving the arms, or what should be, rather than, oh, keep your arm this way. It's when you sending your arm in, your body will know how it wants to send the arm in, and then it should be, rather than 50 degrees this way, 60 degrees that way. It was a very organic way of finding which way my body wanted to move in the water, to be able to find the way it has to be done.
What was so different about my approach?
Again, the thing about your approach was that what I liked most about it was the ability to do things my own way, which I felt worked better for me, and to be able to talk through how I was actually feeling during those various times which I found uncomfortable, and to be able to answer, or to be able to, and I just want to phrase it right. So what I found best is that now I know why certain things are done. If I feel that something's falling through, and okay, I can do it this way, or I can do it this way, because there's so many now. I have these tools in my toolkit that it's I'm able to move things around and be able to do things the way I want to do them, because I find I can, okay, like we were discussing the other day, I was like, okay, I know, to be able to identify between it being a fix and it being the actual movement or actual swim that I want to be doing. Like that, oh, I had to use that as a fix because I wanted my legs to stay higher. but knowing that that wasn't the right thing, but I could still do it without feeling guilty about doing it or trying to change the way I actually swim. But knowing that, okay, I'm just going to do that for the time being whilst I figure out how I'm going to fix this. So, what, not fix this, again, wrong word to use, how I will come to the point that I want to be at.
Lovely. Would you recommend me, and why?
So I would definitely recommend you. I would definitely recommend your swimming course because it gives insight. So somebody who would like to have insight into what their problems are and want to fix them and just don't want to have a fix to their swimming and to swim properly and enjoy the swim. I think that's the most important because I was not enjoying my swim before. The anxiety, the stress, the pressure I was feeling that I need to get this done. I have to get this done. And oh, you need to do this. You need to go from the deep end. You need to be doing this. You need to do that. And that got all taken away. And now when I go into the water, I'm like, yay, okay. So still not perfect, but yeah, I mean I am enjoying that. I could just go into my back and glide for the whole day if I wanted to, just because I'm happy gliding. So I the recommendation again, not just enjoying the float and the glide, but it be able to have insight into what my swim is, to be able to develop that connection with the water. I never thought that I would be aware of the water, to be able to have a understanding with how the water is moving around me and to feel comfortable in water, I think, and not to want to always have this thought that I need to have my feet on the ground, that I need to be able to touch the floor. I need to be, that was something I did not realize that was just right at the back of my head and I could not get around it. And to be able to understand why I thought like that, because sometimes people just don't want to talk about it. You go, so yes, I had a bad experience in the water. Yeah. Don't worry, we're not going to go over there. You're just going to swim and this and this. But there are deep-rooted fears that do need to be dealt with, and you need to be able to understand how you're going to get around that fear. And anybody who is struggling in the water, if you think you're just about making it, that's not what swimming is about. It is about enjoying the process and to enjoy yourself once you go into the water. There shouldn't be urgency when you're swimming in the water. It's just it it should look as it should feel as seamless as it looks.
Do you have anything else you might want to say? Or
No, Brian, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I found it very, like I said, very intriguing that this is something that would just only happen over Zoom. There wouldn't be any classes per se.
so yeah, fantastic.
Perfect.
Thanks very much.
You're more than welcome.
Bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.